Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Majority Leader, thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So President Trump officially designated major drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Does that justify the strike in the Caribbean, or should Congress have a greater role in authorizing military actions against cartels moving forward?
Well, of course, we've seen the results of the cartels bringing drugs into America. It's about 150 dead young people in America every single day. I mean, this is something that's been going on for too long. President Trump said he would do something about it. And it's not just pictures of drugs that are going to stop these narco-terrorists. It's going to be the image of the boat being blown up and the idea that if you send another boat, the next boat, and all the people you bring on it with all the drugs is also going to be blown up. That's going to stop the infiltration of drugs into the United States.
Is it a war?
It's been a war, but it's been a one-sided war. The narcos have been sending drugs into our country laden with fentanyl made in China for decades now. And it's gotten worse the last few years. When Biden opened up the border, we saw the flow of illegal drugs and things like fentanyl coming into our country even more, killing people every single day. And it's primarily young people that it's killing. I mean, literally a plane load of people getting blown up every day would shock the world, yet it was happening every day by drugs, and everybody was looking the other way. President Trump doesn't operate like that. He's not looking the other way. He's angry, like we all should be, about the deaths of those young people, and he's doing something about it.
Leader Scalise, it's Lydia Hu here. Thanks for being with us. Speaking of stopping this flow of deadly drugs into our country, ICE has now opened up a new detention facility in Louisiana. It's called Louisiana Lockup, and it's expected to house more than 400 illegal aliens. And at the same time, the president has suggested that he could send the National Guard to clean up crime in New Orleans. But at least one Democrat in your state doesn't want that federal help. Congressman Cleo Fields admits there is a crime problem in New Orleans, but is rejecting any help from the National Guard. Leader Scalise, I'm just curious, what do you make of kind of this Democrat defense of, rights of illegal migrants and people that are smuggling drugs over the interests of American citizens for safety and security?
You've been seeing this for years as the Democrat Party shifted to the socialist left. As they're about to elect a Marxist in New York, they've literally turned their backs on cops. They want to defund the police. They've turned their backs on people who want safe communities. Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter what your party affiliation is, everybody deserves safe communities, and President Trump is trying to keep communities safe. He did it in D.C., and finally the mayor even said, you know what, it's working. We appreciate it. You look at Chicago, some of these other cities where he's talking about bringing help, and you got the mayors and the governors of some of those places saying that they don't want to keep their own citizens safe. It's mind-boggling. Why would you want more murders when you can have less murders of your own people? And the least President Trump cares about crime and safety and reducing it. Most people in America do. The Democrat Party is just way out of touch with mainstream America.
Mr. Leader, Guy Benson, great to see you this evening. I want to start my questions with this. It's sort of the intersection of politics and elections and then policy. The so-called big, beautiful bill has been law now for a number of months. We know the Democrats are already gearing up for the midterms to say it was a, quote, toxic failure. It was stealing from poor people to fund tax cuts for the rich. We know what the playbook's going to be for them. How do Republicans plan to counter that with their framing of that now law? And will it really ultimately come down to how the economy looks a year from now? Is it working?
Yes, it is, Guy. It's going to work even more as you start seeing more investment, billions and trillions of investment into America. Democrat Party, as usual, seems to be rooting against the success of America just because they hate Donald Trump. But that's been their playbook for a long time. And look, we've got a saying, is if they're going to keep lying about our bill, we're going to start telling the truth about the bill. And the more you tell the truth about what's in that bill, there are no new tax cuts for the millionaires and billionaires like they lie about. The tax cuts that are new in this bill are for working families, waiters and waitresses, no tax on tips, people that work overtime. Those are shift workers. These are all people that are making less than $100,000 a year that are going to see $1,700 or more in their pockets of new money. And those are people who really could use that money. And every Democrat voted no. Every Democrat voted to keep that money in Washington and grow government. That's the difference. Democrats want power and control in government. Republicans want to give hardworking families more of their tax money so they can control their own destiny, so they can have better opportunity and a real shot at the American dream that was taken away from them during the Biden years.
Do you know any billionaires who work for overtime or tips?
I don't, and they love using Elon Musk and all these other billionaires. None of those people get paid overtime. But by the way, the average overtime worker, the no tax on tips worker, you go to any local restaurant, your local waiters and waitresses, the average pays $32,000 a year, and we just said they can have an extra $1,700 in their pocket, and every Democrat said no. And they lied and talked about billionaires, but the people that they really denied opportunity to were the waiters and waitresses who make $32,000 a year. They're going to have a hard time explaining that next year, and why they voted against border security, why Democrats voted against energy security. We opened up energy from Alaska all the way to the Gulf of America so we can create jobs and lower costs at the pump. That matters to families, by the way. Billionaires, if the price of gasoline goes up $1 a gallon, it's not going to affect a billionaire. You know what it affects? It affects those hard-working families who were getting crushed under Biden, under inflation, higher costs. We're working on lowering all of those costs so that families can have more money in their pockets.
Leader Scalise, Jason Chaffetz here. I want to talk about the autopen because there's new reports showing the scandal in the Biden White House that they failed to run its pardon recommendations past the Justice Department in order to vet them. I guess they can do that. But now we're learning that Kamala Harris might have had a bigger role than we thought. Again, she can weigh in on this. But the crux of the concern here is that the president himself did not sign off on these. What is the appetite in Congress to continue to pursue this, to continue to allow James Comer and the Oversight Committee in order to bring people under subpoena and get to the bottom of this? And will it ultimately lead to some accountability where there's actually somebody who's actually prosecuted at some point?
Jason, there needs to be real accountability, and you'll be proud your former committee that you chaired, Oversight Committee, Chairman Comer, is doing a phenomenal job at getting to the facts. And the facts are not boding well for the Biden administration, especially Joe Biden. AutoPen's a great example of the abuses where, it started with so many people, Biden's own personal family members, for whatever reason they wanted to use the AutoPen for those. Then there was one day just hours before Biden left office where almost 2,500 people were pardoned in a day by the AutoPen machine, not by any people signing. And there were recommendations by a lot of people in the White House that a pardon of anybody ought to be signed by the president. And instead, they used AutoPen. And Biden went on TV and defended it and said, don't worry, it was all these nonviolent offenders. It turned out they found people who murdered people who were pardoned by the AutoPen. Biden didn't even know about that, yet it was used, whether it was authorized by anybody of power or not. It wasn't signed by the president himself, Jason. And so we're digging into this. I think the American people, the more they hear, they're disgusted by it. And who was it that was signing off on the use of an AutoPen to make major decisions for the government, major decisions that should have been made only by the president of the United States?
House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, thank you so much for joining us tonight, sir. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great being with you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.